Hi everyone. As you all know, my name is Lady Jasmine C. And today I want to say thank you to everybody, most of all those who had faith in me, who believed in me, who patiently waited till this day for me to come and speak on behalf of myself. To all the good Nigerians out there who during this trying period showed their immense support by checking up on me, calling to know how I'm doing. I want to say thank you to everybody. So today I'm going to be talking about what has transpired this entire time. The past 3 months has been, I can't say it has been hell, but in every situation, I want to say, I want to give thanks to God. I said I was not going to talk about this issue until Daddy gets back to his feet. And glory be to God, he's been discharged and recuperating. Um, a lot has happened, not just the event of the past few months. A lot has happened, and I would like to share more light on how I got involved, how things got to this point. And I'm not talking because I need people to sympathize with me. No, that's not the essence of this. I'm talking because I feel like I have been abused, I have been used, and I hope you guys are patient enough to at least listen to the entire story because it means a lot to me for people to know what really transpired, what really happened. Then, if after listening to me, you feel like, oh, I'm wrong, fine. I'll leave the judgment to you people. So, how did I get involved in all this in the first place? Um, Firstly, how did I get involved with this family? The John Okafor family, Mr. Ibu family. The first and most important question I get all the time from people, mostly on my comment section, is, oh, don't she have a family? Don't she have parents? Leave this family alone, and all of that. I would like to start addressing from those kind of comments. So many years ago, my dad passed on. May his soul rest in peace. He was in the Nigerian army. He was a very good friend to Mr. Ibu, who is now a father figure in my life. When my dad passed on, Mr. Ibu himself was at the burial. Ever since then, he has played the role of a father figure in my life. Not for once have I ever needed somebody as a father that he was not there for me. So, fast forward to 2018, I left the country, I left Nigeria, and then I went to look for greener pasture outside the country. Things were working out for me. I was doing good. I was doing fine. Later on, I relocated to Cyprus where I was studying law. Fast forward to 2020, Daddy in person of Mr. Ibu, started writing me on WhatsApp requesting for financial assistance. I was really surprised because before I left this country, he was doing well. If he wasn't at the peak of his career, he was doing absolutely well. He has exotic cars, everything was okay for him. So in 2020, when he started reaching out to me that he needed money for certain things, I was really surprised. Certain times I will send 50,000, 5,000, 2,000, as much as I can. I have friends then in Cyprus that can attest to it. I think I have one friend, Ventura, another friend, Otonye. These are people I know that can attest to it because then, even when I don't have as much, I would borrow from them or I would get from them to send to him. So at some point, it was quite disturbing because I know when I left this country, he was doing very, very okay. I started asking questions. I asked him what exactly is happening in your life right now for you to be asking for the least 50,000, 10,000, 5,000. Are you sure everything is okay? That was the first time he mentioned to me that he was sick and he was in Abuja. I then asked him, how about your wife? How's the children? How is everybody doing? It's been long since I heard from any of them. He said, his wife is in Lagos. That he has been in Abuja for close to 2 years now. And I was like, if you're sick, the best place to be is your home in Lagos. Why Abuja? He didn't really say much. So I told him to send me his wife number that I would like to hear from her. It's been a while. I'd like to hear from her. Let me know what's happening in their life and all of that. Let me also understand why he was asking for those kind of financial help if things has really gotten that bad. Because I was in shock. It also surprised me. So he later sent her number. I called her. I asked her how she was doing. She said everything was not well. I could remember that day. The first day I contacted her after a very long time, she said everything is not well, that her husband has left the house for over 2 years. He has abandoned the children and everything. I was surprised to hear that from her. And then she said that very day, she started sending me videos. I think the last time they called me out that I was on that the freeze live, I made reference to that. And I'm sure those evidence will still be on the live because I've changed my phone severally and my phone formatted, so I might not have some of those evidence. But I still know that if I go to my iCloud, I will still see some of them, which I'll be posting while the video goes on. So around that period, she was crying over the phone. When I asked her how things were going, she said that daddy, in person of Mr. Ibu, has left the house for over 2 years, abandoned her with the kids, that things were really bad for her. Even that day, she sent me a video of NEPA people cutting the light as of when I called her. The NEPA people were there. She went to her car. She showed me her car, that there was no fuel in her car. Her car was in a very bad condition. That in fact, that if I don't intervene, no, 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 no. The NEPA people will cut the light and there will be no light there will be no light in the house. And the children were drinking gari, that there was no food in the house for the children, that they were drinking gari, that things has gotten real bad, that since daddy was in Abuja, he was not really in a very good state to help them and support her. And for her, she's not doing any work. She according to her, she married him. She has not had any job. She has not done anything. She has no means of sustaining the family. I mean, she totally depends on him to be able to sustain the family and pay school fees for the children. So I said, okay, me, I'm in Cyprus though. I'm studying. I showed her some of my school stuff that I'm studying law. This is where I am. We're trying to catch up with each other. And I told her this is where I am right now. But I'll try and see if I can raise at least 100,000 and send to her so that she can sort out the little she can solve. She said, okay. That day I sent her 100,000. The proof of that 100,000 I sent her is in the previous live video I did with Daddy Freeze. I sent her 100,000 naira. She called me, she thanked me, said that 100,000 will go a very long way for her. I said, okay. Subsequently, I will keep in touch. That was my first encounter with her after a very long period of time. But that was my first time talking to her after a very long period of time, after I left the country and everything. So from there, she started chatting me every day. We were talking. Subsequently, she would send me for every single time we were having conversation. It was about the issues in the house and all of those things. And at the point, she started complaining to me that she's not able to reach daddy on the phone in person of Mr. Ibu. That when she calls him in Abuja, he doesn't pick and all of that. So she will ask me to call daddy on her behalf and talk to daddy that daddy should send something for her and the kids. And I've been supporting her in the little way I can during that period. My friends in Cyprus, I can call their names here. I'm sure most of them are still alive, although I'm not in contact with some of them because I've left Cyprus for a while. They are aware. Some of them are aware because when I don't have, I'll ask my friend, oh please help me, I want to send. They know how close I was to the family and how I was always concerned about the family. So at one point, I said I was coming back to Nigeria because at that point I was dating someone and we're talking about getting married. So I had a reason to come to Nigeria, and I told her, I said, look, I'm coming to Nigeria. When I come to Nigeria, we'll sit down and talk. Then we'll know how to solve some of all these issues that is going on, you know. So I was also talking to daddy's son, Valentine, that was in South Africa. I was talking to so many people in the family that period. So when I came back to Nigeria, I was supposed to come to Lagos. In fact, she was supposed to meet me at the airport, but she couldn't meet up. And then I told her I was going straight to Abuja. I traveled with one other lady, one of their family friend. So we went to Abuja. On getting to Abuja, Daddy was really sick. He was really, really sick. That was the first video that went viral on social media that was giving him medicine. I said, Daddy, take this medicine, take the medicine. I am sure I'll put it on the screen during the course of the video. So Daddy was really sick. The condition I met him was really bad. I have a lot of videos we made that day. Asking what was happening. He said he's really down for the past 2 years. He don't know what is happening. I said, why haven't you gone home if things are really that bad? Go home and stay with your wife. At least she will take care of you. Now that you are here in this hotel, the name of the hotel he was then was Nana Suit. You people can go and find out how long that he stayed in Nana Suit. I know I heard when I came, I heard he lived in so many hotels in Abuja before finally living in Nana Suit. I'm sure people that are watching this video, some people will be able to go there and make inquiries. It was in Nana Suit Hotel that I went and found that day. So in that Nana Suit Hotel, there are some other people that were there, some other actors. During the course of this video, I'll be mentioning some names. So if there's anything I'm saying that is lie, people can go and make inquiries. You know, I didn't want to come and say anything, but the things have gotten to the part where I have to speak up, and I have to speak up my truths. I have to say my truth the way it is. That is the essence of telling this story. The way it is. If after knowing my truths, you people still deem it fit to condemn me, it's fine. But at least let it be that I speak. Let it be that I said something. Let it be that I stood up for myself. So when I arrived at that Nana Hotel the lady that is a family friend to them, Daddy was really sick. Then I did a video of him being sick and I put it on social media. That video caught the attentions of so many good Nigerians. And then people started reaching out. What's happening to Mr. Ibu? It's been so long we heard about Mr. Ibu. What's happening to our old Nollywood actors? We haven't been seeing Mr. Ibu. Nobody has been hearing about him for a while now. And there were some good people that were around him around that period. They knew he was sick, but they did not know he was that bad. Benedict Johnson, a Nollywood actor, was there. Labista was there. There's one other man. I don't really know him mutually, but I met him there. It was one of the people that was helping him then, and Bala, Mr. Bala. They had a program running, a political party program that was running on that period. I can't really say much about it because I came and met them in the middle of it. In fact, I later found out that they were the one even sustaining his hotel bill, his food and everything. So when they saw that video, they rushed, they came, Benedict Johnson came over, Labista came over, and some people in Nollywood, they came over. And immediately, it wasn't up to an hour, let me say an hour 30 minutes, they rushed him to the hospital. They rushed him to the hospital, Zenith Kidney and Medical Center. When they took him to the hospital, I believe Benedict Johnson, by the grace of God, he's alive and healthy. He knows most of, he should be able to relate to most of the things I'm going to say during this period in Abuja. They took him to the hospital. The doctors saw that they saw his former medical reports from the previous hospital he was. And what the doctor said that day, I won't forget, he said, if this medical report that they came with is the state of him, of daddy right now, that means things are really bad. And then I can remember then, if the people that were there can attest to the fact that daddy was saying, death is near, death is near, death is near. I was rebuking him. I said, death is not near, you're not dying anytime soon. So the hospital, they said they had to make a deposit of a particular amount of money. Benedict Johnson and Labista were running around with some other people, the Bala man, they were running around, they were able to raise a certain amount of money, and then they made deposit at that hospital, Zenith Hospital. So they started checking that day. I cannot actually give details of his medical condition because I feel like that those are things that are actually personal to him. But I can actually say to some extent the medical condition was really bad. It wasn't a very good report. So they started checking him all over. They had to admit him. They admitted him in that hospital for at least 3 months. And the people that took care of the bill that time, as far as I know, was that group of people that were sustaining him at that hotel. So when I came, the first thing I asked, I called the wife. I said, look, I'm here at the hospital in Abuja. The condition is really bad. If it's possible for you to come. She now said that she doesn't have transport, or that she doesn't have money for flight. She can't come. That they said we're going to arrange money for her to come and all of that. I said, okay. So I spoke to daddy. I said, we need to find a way for your wife to come so that she can actually take care of you. Daddy said clearly to me that day that he doesn't want his wife to come to the hospital that day. That if his wife come, he's going to die. I'm not the only one he said that to. Labista, you're still alive. Benedict Johnson, you're still alive. If you people know the truth and you want to be silent about it because you don't want to get involved in family issues, I can understand. But I know very well that you people know what happened that day at that hospital. We pleaded with daddy, pleaded with daddy, pleaded with him for him to allow his wife to come to the hospital. He said no. And he gave his reasons. He gave his reasons. He made some very strong allegations about their marriage, about having caught his wife having affairs so many times and all of that. Which I called the wife. I told him, I said, this is what daddy said. This is what he said. He doesn't want you to come. That he caught you having an affair and all of those things. She said, oh, that about that is not true. That she never had any affair. I'm not here to say whether she had affair or she never had affair because I wasn't there. But I'm quoting what daddy said that day. The main reason why he said he didn't want her to come to Abuja. He said he didn't want her to come, that for the past 2 years he hasn't seen her. And she affirmed to me that for the past 2 years she has not seen him. They were only talking on the phone, and most of the times he doesn't pick the call. And most of the time it's strangers, people that she doesn't know, that were picking the call. So daddy didn't want her to be there. I was the one pushing for her to come there. I was the one pushing for her. I told her, okay, come. This is the hospital. She asked me where the hospital address was. I said, come. And I told her, okay, you know what you're going to do? Find a way, sort out a way, find flight ticket and come. When you come, then we can now find a way and raise the money and balance you back. Because if daddy is giving his reason, saying this is the reason why he doesn't want you to come, I cannot go against that will. So finally, the wife actually talked about that issue. She herself said that daddy has been telling a lot of people that she has had it from so many places that she's having an affair, but in reality that it were just mere accusations, that it was hearsays. He was hearing from a lot of people that she never had any affair. I believed whatever she said that period. I believed her. I had no reason to doubt what she was saying. So I just as an adult, I felt like, oh, maybe it's just normal misunderstanding between husband and wife that they will in turn settle later. So later on, she came to the hospital. When she came to the hospital, the first thing that they asked me was, who brought her here? I said, that this person is your wife now. You cannot be asking me who brought her here. Then she later said her friend, one of her friends, which I'll be mentioning her name in the course of this video, because a lot of things that happened in that family she knows. If she's willing to come out and speak up one day, it's on her. If she wants to know the truth and still be silenced about the truth, it's still on her. I will not force anybody to come and speak up or force anybody to come and stand up for me. I won't. That's what I won't do. So that her friend, now she, according to the wife, when she landed in Abuja after I sent the address, she said it was that her friend Ogadima that actually booked the flight ticket for her. And then she came there. There was one other lady that was there that they later had issue with, whatever, I don't know. They later had issue with the lady that was there in the hospital. So when she came to the hospital, it was me, the other lady that she later had issue with, and daddy at first in the hospital. Before she came, I was the one in the hospital taking care of daddy when I came back. Then subsequently, Labista will come, Benedict Johnson will come. Some people were coming, some other people from Nollywood, and some people that were there in that hotel that he was lodged at. The people that were looking after him were paying for his food and his hotel bill. Those people were also frequenting the hospital before she came. So when she came, I stepped down. I was just there. Whatever she wants, she would send me a message like her daughter. She was even calling me her daughter, introducing me. She was the one that started introducing me to people as her daughter. Oh, this is my daughter. This is what she has done and all of that. I was working with the flow. I never had issue with her at any point. I was very loyal to her. Never at any point had any issue with her. So daddy was now in that hospital for about 2 weeks. Then his son later came and joined us. Daniel, his second son, sorry, not the one in South Africa. His second son later came and joined us in the hospital. So it was me, daddy, his wife, his son, and at the hospital. Subsequently, people started coming to the hospital to visit him. Yes, Madam Mona Lisa came to visit him, the Nollywood actress. She was the then secretary of EGN. A lot of people started coming to the hospital to visit him after the post I made went viral. Some people were contributing directly to him. Some people were giving him cash directly to him. At no situation was any money that was given to him. taken by me or given to me. They were giving it to him, either him directly or the wife. I was just there in the picture trying to assist with everything. So after staying in that hospital for months, daddy finally recovered. Glory be to God. Myself, his son, the wife, we now started traveling. I cannot remember the sequence of the travel, but I know we went to we went to, yes, from Abuja we went to Enugu together. We went to Calabar together to see that her friend that booked ticket for her, Auntie Ogadima. We went to Owerri together. We attended Rita Dominic's wedding together, which he introduced me to so many people as his daughter, and the wife was introducing me to so many people as her child. We were traveling together. After all those travel, we now later came back to Lagos. When we came back to Lagos, we didn't go to the house directly because the wife said the house was not in a good condition. Water was already entering the house. She said the house was so messed. So we all went to lodge in a hotel. Went to lodge in a hotel. In that hotel, daddy and his wife were lodged. I was lodged separately. After staying in that hotel for a particular period of time, I think for a week, then we now went to the house. Now, when we went to the house around that period, daddy was still, he just barely recovered. He was still trying to get back to his feet. While we were leaving, I think Kennedy Johnson and Ballard, his group, yes, but Johnson Bala and Labista, their group in that particular thing they were doing that time. I think it was something related to politics. I wasn't really well informed about whatever they were doing, but they supported him with some amount of money. Even the day they wanted to give him the money, the wife said they should hand over the money to her, which they did. So she was the one in charge of the money they gave to him. After that, we went to from the hotel, we went to his house. So when we got to the house, I told them I wanted to. Then I just came back to Nigeria. I haven't actually connected to my own mom. I haven't even visited my mom. My mom was in Lagos. She was calling me. I told her the situation of things when I came because she knows him very well. And they talk. My mom is also from Enugu. They're from a very close place. So she knows him very well. She knows him for years. In fact, they are very close. So my mom was also communicating. My mom said, okay, be patient. When it's fine, you can come back. So for that period of time, my parents, my family are there. They were doing fine. They were communicating with me. And I had just recently got married. I had just recently got married to the guy I met on TikTok, the American guy. I'll be talking about his story in another video. That's another because when everything happened, I never ever said anything about anything. But now people are pushing me to talk. I've been quiet and people are pushing me to talk. They want me to really talk. I'm the kind of person that when things happen, I like things to be where they are. I like to move on from things. But this situation, I don't see myself moving on from it until I talk about it. And by talking about it, I mean telling my story exactly the way it is. And if I say anything on this video, anybody thinks that what I'm saying is a lie, I have proof of everything I'm going to say in this video. I have proof of them, either in video forms, either in picture forms, screenshot, chat. I have proof. I'm someone that is very detailed in whatever I do in life. So I have proof of whatever I'm going to be saying in this video. So around that period while we were in the house, my then husband, who is now my ex-husband, said he wanted to come to Nigeria, and that would have been the first. That would have been like the first time he's coming to Nigeria. I said, okay. I had to go and rent house then. So I went to rent a house in Lagos. I took a 5-bedroom flat in Lekki. Before I left Cyprus, most people that knew me in Cyprus knew that I had a logistic business working for me, 247 logistic. Yes, I had a logistic business working for me. I had things working for me very fine, and I was doing very okay, and I was very comfortable, very, very comfortable. The logistic business I was doing, I was making over 3 million naira weekly. So I was making a whole lot of money from that logistic. I was the only one doing the business I was doing in Cyprus. As of the time I left Cyprus, nobody else was doing that business. So when I came, I was okay. I was fully loaded. Then after staying with daddy in the house for a period of time, when daddy was recuperating, him and his wife started having issues. The son was there. The son can attest to it. Even the children, the younger children, they can attest to it.
Be my bam now, be my bam now, be my bam now, be my bam now, be my bam now.
They were always constantly having issues, and the issues they were having was not far-fetched from money issues. The fact that she would want to do something and she'll come and ask daddy for money, knowing fully well that he's not working and there's no other source of income. Daddy will start complaining, okay, I'm not working. Where do you want this money to come from? And as far as I know, from what both of them told me, from what daddy told me and from what she told me, they were married for years and that marriage was very okay until daddy started encountering money issues when he wasn't getting jobs in his career. Nollywood, the acting team was not paying him. He wasn't getting jobs. He wasn't getting endorsements. So he was just there. So the money was not coming forth because while she was in that marriage, she was not working. So the only source of income in that marriage was daddy. And at the point that daddy was not able to financially sustain the marriage, that's when the issues started coming up. So while I was there, the few issues that I know occurred in my presence, the few issues that I can say I can attest to that happened in my presence were mostly the issues of money. When she would say, okay, I need money for this, I mean, need money for that. At some point, daddy was even telling her to that the school fees they were paying for the kids were too expensive, that they should actually change the school for the children so that he can pay in somewhere that he can afford. Those were the kind of issues that were bringing problem that time. And the problem I was the problem I'm talking about is not like just that they were having they were always quarreling in the loudest of their voice. I've never witnessed daddy hitting her or witnessed her beating daddy, but they were always fighting at the top of their voice. That daddy would at some point he would start complaining, oh, my heart, my chest, and all of those things. He would start complaining as if those things were actually affecting him directly. So then, aside from that job I did in Cyprus, I was doing TikTok. Even when I traveled to Gambia and some other African countries, I was doing TikTok. And then people that knows what TikTok is all about knows that TikTok is one social media platform that pays very well if you're very creative and you know what you're doing. If you go on TikTok, like you have a lot of people gifting you and all of that. So I started telling her, I said, okay, now that daddy is not working, that this TikTok thing, I showed her how I was making my income and all of that. I said, this TikTok thing might actually be something that would work for you people. She said, okay, she's very interested, that I should create an account for her. I should teach her how she can do the TikTok thing, which I did. I politely did. I opened the TikTok account for her. I even went as far as growing her TikTok account to 114,000 followers that it is today. I was doing content for her. Even while we're in Abuja, I was doing content for her. I was shooting the videos, everything on that TikTok platform till it grew to that amount of follower it has was all my doings. Then later on, I started doing daddy TikTok. She said I should also help daddy, bring daddy back to social media, that people don't know that daddy has gone out of the limelight. Maybe he can start having job. That is how I started creating content with daddy, bringing him back to the limelight so that he can at least afford the least school fees. And as I speak, I know there are so many people in the industry that can attest to the fact that I was not the only one that he was calling and asking for finance. Because when I came, I heard a lot of stuff. A lot of people were telling me that he was asking for finance for as many people as possible. Everybody knew that the time I came back to Nigeria, that he was at his lowest. He was at his lowest. He was asking for the least 2,000 naira from anybody that cared to sustain his family. He was asking for the least 1,000 naira. He was asking for money from anybody, be it a stranger, anybody. So a lot of people knew that I was not the only person that knows that daddy was at his lowest when I came back to Nigeria, that daddy wasn't doing fine at all financially. So that was how I was able to set up the TikTok thing for both her and daddy. And when I came back, daddy's Instagram account was hacked. His account was hacked. He was not active on Instagram. In fact, his account was hacked while he was in a hospital. And we later found out who hacked his account is also somebody in the Nollywood. I don't want to mention name because the case was taken to oh, sorry, the case was taken to Aja police station. I was the one that found out because I was chatting the account and then the person was chatting me. He sent details to send money. I later found out who the person was. I was the one that reported the case to Aja police station, paid for the investigation to go on. And when the investigation went on, they tracked the person and they brought the person to Aja police station for me to recover that account. There's this girl they called Jenna of Insta and Jenna on Instagram. So I paid Jenna 500,000 on Instagram to help recover Daddy's account. Now they recovered Daddy's account, Instagram's Instagram account. After they recovered the Instagram account, which before I paid that money, I told the wife, I said, okay, see, how are we going to raise the money? She was like, let's forget about the account, that it's something we can always do, that money is not important to pay that kind of money in that. I remember that day I called my immediate younger brother. I said, please, can you loan me 500,000? The next day I'll be able to send it to you. Let me just quickly solve the problem. He did. She was there when the money came and everything, and we solved that problem. And when the guy was arrested, he later compensated daddy with, I think, 1 point something million naira. Yes, and that money was given to him and not me. And I didn't bother. So subsequently, while I was doing my TikTok thing, I was also sustaining the family. Most of the things they buy in the house, most of the things they use in the house, I was sustaining them from that money. Then daddy later joined in the TikTok stuff. The money that was making from the daddy's TikTok that he was doing, most of it was going to the wife. Some of it was going to daddy. They were solving their family problem. She cannot say she did not use TikTok money to pay school fees at some point. From the TikTok I was doing with daddy. She has never for one day come and showed her face on that TikTok. I was the one running the TikTok account with daddy. She cannot say she has not used the money from TikTok to put food on their table. She cannot say they did not use money from the TikTok money to do things that would benefit their family. While I was running her TikTok account, I was running daddy's TikTok account, and I was running my account. At some point, I was choked. I had to hand over her own TikTok account to her and tell her, okay, this is how to go about it. Let me focus on myself and focus on daddy. She now said, okay, but sometimes try to carry me along. I said, okay, no problem. I'll be carrying you along. Like when we're doing starting videos, you join us. You go to the page, you see even on daddy's page, some video it's three of us, some video is just me and daddy, and some video is me and her. So things were going quite smooth. There was no reason for malice. There was no confusion anywhere. In fact, at some point, I was more closer to her than I was with daddy, because there are certain conversations that I and her have that I have with her that I cannot have with daddy. So while the issue between herself and daddy was going on, um, at some point she started bringing up issue of daddy selling his property, some of his property he had, so that they can be able to fit some bills, as they were not meeting up with bills. So at that point, daddy was so, I don't know, for some reason he was unwilling to sell property. Maybe he was hoping that a job will come along, something somewhere that things will work out eventually, you know. And also when we came back, daddy complained about the cars he left in the house, that all the cars were sold and none of them were remitted to him. In fact, that was the first issue they had in the house then. He was asking about the cars, what happened to all the cars, that all the cars were sold and none of the money, he made it quite an issue that none of the money was remitted to him. With that, I cannot say much about, because she's the only one that knows what happened to the car. I'm only making reference to it because even in Daddy Free's life, the first time she called me out, the first time anybody in this life ever called me out was that. She was the first person that ever called me out in this life. I've never had to had issue with anybody on social space. So the first time anything like that happened was when she came out and said, "Oh, this is I'll trace it back." That's why I'm starting this whole story from the beginning, so that I'll link it up to how we got to this place. Daddy came out and also made reference to his cars that were missing under the freeze life. So I'm sure it's something that some people, if you watch the video, you'll be familiar with. So fast forward to where we were in the house and they were having their issues. And then my ex-husband said he wanted to visit Nigeria. I said, okay, fine. So fast forward to when I rented my house and I moved into my house with my family were in the house. My husband later came and joined us in the house. So after I moved, when my ex-husband came, he wanted to see daddy. Around that period, as soon as I left the house, it wasn't long after I left the house. One day she called me, she was crying on the phone that daddy said he wants to leave again. That she's so scared because the last time he left for about over 2 years, and now he wants to leave again, that he doesn't want to stay in the house, that he's probably running away from responsibility and all that. And daddy that I know as of that time, he was also complaining that he's financially not okay, that staying in their house doing nothing does not suit him. So he was trying to, like he said, he wanted to go out and see if he can get job outside, maybe in Abuja, go back to Abuja or go somewhere else apart from Lagos, where maybe he can actually get help or something. So daddy later moved out of the house. He went to somewhere in Ibafo. I've never been to that place before until when my ex-husband came and he wanted to see daddy. We drove all the way, myself, my ex-husband, we drove all the way to Ibafo. When we went there, it was a building, and there was one guy, I don't want to mention his name. There was one guy that was there, that he was living with that guy, and there were so many people again in that house. I was wondering why daddy had to leave his house to go and stay in that kind of place, in that place. So daddy said that place was preferable for him to stay. I could remember vividly that the wife was also trying to reach out to the said guy, and certain times she would say when she reached out to him, he was not responsive well and all of that. They were having some issues and all of that. So daddy was there in Iba for a very long period of time, and that guy was taking care of him in Iba for a very long period of time. So when I came back, when I got Iba, I called her. I said, "This is where daddy is staying. No, that are you not going to do something about it? At least let him come back. That place, I don't think is very comfortable for him." So she said, that if he wants to move her, she cannot stop an adult from going to where he wants to stay, since his own house is not comfortable for him to stay anymore. According to her, he was running away from responsibility and stuff. They both had different view. According to daddy, there was no money, and he was trying to go and look for other means of getting money. So, and I said, okay, we are coming back, myself and my ex-husband and everything. We are coming back to Lagos, because Ibafo is almost outside the outsketch of Lagos. So she pleaded with me that day. She said, "If can we bring him back?" I said, the way I saw him, I don't think he's willing to come back. In fact, he was saying he's going to stay there for about 3 months and later go to Abuja. That's his plan. That they were working on something. The guy he was, they were working on something, on one program that could likely bring him money. I had faith that whatever it is they were working on will likely bring him money. So I said, okay. Oh. So when we came back, I had a conversation with her. I could remember vividly then. That was the first time she pleaded with me. She said, "Look, prior to when I came back, that daddy has left the house severally in a very lengthy period of time since he stopped getting jobs, since things stopped working out for him. That that most of the time that he's not around, most of the time he's outside. When she contact the people he's with, she's not able to reach out to him. And now that I've rented a house, and it's a 5 bedroom duplex in like very close, not very far, because when I was looking for that house, I was with them. So when I went, I was living with them when I went to look for the house. I didn't look for somewhere that is very far. I looked for a place that is very okay. For it was actually myself and her that went to look for the place. You understand? So we got a place that was very close. So she was pleading with me that can daddy come and stay with me for a while? That if you, even if it's the TikTok thing that we are doing that is bringing money, let's be doing it. At least she seems small money to settle certain bills. That if it's that one that is working out, let's do it. At least she'll be able to reach out to him if he's in my place. Other than him being in certain places that she's not able to reach out with him, sometimes she cannot communicate with him. And whenever they communicate, he always end up in a fight. That at least to some certain extent he listens to me and all that. And after that for me, my mother is in the same house, my son is in the same house, my younger brother is in the same house, and my husband, my ex-husband, is actually in the same house at that time. That for daddy to come and stay with us in that house, it's going to be like a very big family. And I told her that I can only allow that in one condition: if his second son, that was also with us in Lagos there, can come and move in with him, so that it will be a situation of a son taking care of a father in my house. It wouldn't completely be my responsibility. So later had a conversation about it, myself, the second son, and her, and then we agreed. We said, okay, daddy will come and stay with me. Oh, after she pleaded with me, and if any of these things I'm saying, if you guys feel is lies, I'm gonna put evidences out here. So daddy finally moved in with me. When daddy moved in initially, she used to come to the house. In fact, not initially, she was coming to the house at all time. She will come. When she comes, when she wants to go, she will take food stuff and all that things and take back to the house. I never complain. I never complain. I was treating her like my mom. Even my mom would sometimes say, I'm treating this woman more than I'm treating her. Her friend would attest to it. Her friends always say that I have so much respect for her. The kind of respect I have for her, they've never seen anybody that respected her like that. You know, I used to call her mommy. I don't even call her by her name. Most people my age call her by her name. What they call her is Stella. I call her mommy. And she introduced me to all her friends, telling her friend that I'm a daughter to her. It's one of her friends that has salon very close to my house. She told her friend that I'm a daughter. In fact, when this whole issue happened, the friend called me and she said she's surprised that this same person that was telling me that you've done this for her, you've done what happened? How did things went this bad? How did things escalate like this? What really happened? You know? When I said I was closer to her than I was with daddy, most time when she wants to do something, she'll come and meet me and tell me to tell daddy. Like when she started talking about daddy selling property, she went to meet daddy severally and told him about selling property. Daddy quite didn't sit well with it. She had to come to me and say, please help me talk to him. He listens to you. Talk to him in a way you understand. Because if I'm talking to him, he will think, oh, I'm doing this because I want to use the money for my selfish reason. Let him see reasons that he needs to sell this property so that they can take care of the kids and everything. And I went to daddy. I quite cried for him. I said, please look at the situation the family is right now. The reason people own property is so that when things are bad for them, they can be able to sell the property and settle some of their issues. At one point, okay, fast forward to when daddy started living in the house. She was coming, she will come and go and all that. Fast forward to when she now said he should sell the property, one plot of land. Now this is when the matter became tricky. So when daddy moved in not so long, she started pleading that daddy should sell a plot of land. I still have some of the communication on WhatsApp and everything when she was even sending me screenshot of a copy of where the land is and everything. And that land, somebody was in charge of the land, you know. So daddy sold that land, you know. When daddy sold that land, they both agree on a certain amount of money. I think that land was sold for about 3 million naira. She said she wanted daddy to give her 1.5 million naira or 2 million naira. Daddy said what he was able to give her around that period was 700,000. So she kept insisting that out of the 3 million naira, he should. Okay, the money that even came was not up to 303 million naira because the person that sold the land took his own percentage of about 200,000 naira. So the money that came was about 2 point something million. And she said out of that 2 point something million, she wanted daddy to give her about 2 million plus. I know why I'm talking in details because I want you guys to really understand certain things, you know. So when daddy now finally accepted to give her 700, and she called me again. Say, Jasmine, please talk to him now. Talk to him. And I don't know how she calls him, how she address him is this man. That is what if you check all our chat, is this man, this man. In our message, in our conversation, mostly how she address him is talk to this man now and talk to this man. At least let him do let's use this money for something useful and all of that, you know. So daddy now said okay, he was going to give 700,000. At some point I was like, okay daddy, let's be reasonable. At least let's at least clear the children's school fees, add it to whatever that is coming up from TikTok, clear the children's school fees and all that. So I can't remember per se how much daddy said sent that period, but I'm sure it was either 1 million or 1 million plus. After daddy now sent that money to her, the next day she started calling that she wanted 12,000. After that, he had sent over a million naira or a million naira to her, that she wanted 12,000. She called him that he was lambasting her on the phone, that she wanted me to go and talk to him again. And I said, Mommy, this one, I will not involve myself. The house is not far. You can either take she has a, of course she has a car. Then I said you can either take a car and come to the house and convince him yourself to send you the 12,000, because I know what it was for me to even talk about sending, making that 700,000 1 million naira. Now for me to go back and ask him for 12,000 just a a day later, that I cannot do it. So she got pissed. She started calling me. At some point, I said, okay, let me go and talk to daddy. I went to talk to daddy. Daddy said, that even this money he's keeping, he's not going to spend it. That he's also keeping it for food and everything if they need anything. Because while he was in my house, he's feeding his hospitals, because after he came from hospital, of course, we're still buying hospital to regulate his heart and everything. So the medications he was taking for his heart from the hospital actually what's the name of this hospital? Living Heart Hospital is there. Go and make inquiries. I was always going to that hospital, Living Heart Hospital, to make sure that he was okay. I was always buying his drugs every two weeks. You can go there and make inquiries. The receipts are there in that hospital. While he was in my house, all the medicine they wrote for him to be taken from that previous hospital, I make sure he never missed any of his drug for one day. So he said, the money that was remaining, that he was actually going to give it to her, but at least she should give it some time. That he just gave her 1 million. That's their issue. So she started calling me. I told her that, I've tried to talk to daddy about sending you extra 12,000. The same thing he told you, the same thing he told me, that he's unwilling. She called the son. The son tried to talk to daddy, and daddy was still unwilling to send her 12,000 naira. That how can he send 1 million today? Just yesterday that she's asking for 12,000 naira. The next thing, there's this other girl. I don't want to give her cheap publicity. There's this other girl that, in fact, I don't even, let me not just give her any publicity at all. There's this other girl, she went on daddy's Instagram, she started insulting me on daddy's Instagram, threatening my life and saying all sorts of things. And this was the same girl daddy's wife was warning me about, telling me, oh, this girl, this is what